Okay, let's start, and the rest will join us while we will be presenting. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's a DATAS talk. It's a, a presentation of DATAS residency participants project. And DATAS is the residency program that we are implementing together with our friends and partners from Projekt Atol in Slovenia, Goethe-Institut, Germany, Czechia, MeetFactory in Prague, and Tallinn Art Hall in Estonia. Data residency is a residency, but also a set of public events and eventually an exhibition which will take place in Prague next summer. And DATAS is about personal data and how computational technology changed our lives with the focus on Eastern and Central Europe, also Southern Caucasus region. And in the frames of the project, we are implementing various residencies. Our partners in other countries are organizing residencies physically in their spaces. Izolyatsia, because it doesn't have the space, we are doing virtual residencies, which are also fun and an interesting way to work with a specific topic. And this is the second group of our residents that have been working with us for the last 2 months. You will see the presentation of the project, and next year you will be able to see the final artwork delivered at the in the Prague Rudolfinium Gallery. So I will give the voice, the microphone to Lucy Nichai, the creator of our residency. But before that, I will also ask you to prepare your questions. If you have any questions, you can write directly into chat. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you can also do this in comments. We'll be watching that. And at the end of the presentation, you will be able to raise your hand and ask your questions with your voice. We will also give you this opportunity. So thank you so much. And Lucy, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you for joining us. I hear me? Yeah? Yeah, thank you. Today we celebrate the completion of the second online residency program. I had privilege to create the program progress and observing the development of the extraordinary project. I would like to introduce the authors of the project Machine State, the Critical Tech Group, Nastia, Kolodka, and Nazar. Critical Tech Group, it is a research unit of the Autonomous Educational Platform Work in Progress Network. Critical Tech Group focuses on the practical study of the interconnection between technology and society. And they tell about that a little bit later. Nazar Holianych is an artist working with moving images and research associated with analytical structure, malware, and trap aggressor. He also supports WIP Network, a platform for study group that fosters independent research based on the public funding model. Nastia Kolodka is an Ukrainian researcher and visual artist. She works primarily with spatial research and interactive design, experimenting with 3D modeling and the creative coding. Her practice combines the study of rhizomatic system, post-internet culture, and decentralized communities. She lives and works in Kyiv. Before I give the floor for artists, I want to remind about your question. You can listen, and also when some question appear in the process, just put your question to the chat, and in the end we will have the Q&A session. Thank you for joining us again, and I give the floor for Nastia and Nazar. Very welcome. I'm very happy to introduce you today for the audience.
Hello everyone. Thank you for coming and listening on YouTube. I expect someone there. I think we want to start by acknowledging thanks to Lucia and Izolyatsia and Ho and Rodolfinho and everyone who trusted us. It was our first project, and that we pitched as a group together with Nastia. We'll talk about it, but in the future. And also we want to show appreciation to Ivan Stepkiv and our mentor Tiziana Turanova. Without them, it wouldn't be possible, Raul. Without Ivan, we wouldn't be able to technically even imagine how to do it, and without Tiziana, theoretically, we wouldn't be able to imagine how to do it. So thank you, everyone. And Nastia, do you want to add something on that, or we can start?
I think we can start, but
Cool.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. We'll start by talking a bit about who we are and where we're coming from. So I'm Nazar, Nastia is my colleague. We met quite a long time ago, but we started our practice within VIP Network. There's a Discord server, and we sort of started chatting about technology and how it affects politics in many different interesting ways. And I remember at least that someone from this server shared the DATAS open co-residency, and we nicely kind of took it because it was a topic very aligned with our interests of politics, technology, and sovereignty, and tried to develop a project. And that's how we kind of formed Critical Tech Group in order to be able to apply as a group. As Lucy mentioned, I work with mostly moving image and coding and the open source intelligence, and I does a lot of cool spatial research, VJing, 3D modeling, and research included. I'll move forward. The idea of machine states, that's the name of our project, if it wasn't clear from the start, is kind of a long one. We started at the point of trying to figure out where did order become virtue, where did like algorithm computing and cleanliness and sterile mechanisms became the thing we could believe that can govern us. And it kind of appeared in different parts of the civilization, and by the Second World War, the class of the theoreticians of cybernetics, the theory of communication between humans and machines emerged to answer some pressing questions about how technology comes in contact with humanity and civilization as a whole. And based on that kind of the grounds of research, based on the very long idea that order is a virtue, that algorithm can be trusted, and the fact that not just trusted, but should be given like a bigger purpose in human life, developed two very distinct ideas, which were kind of the beginning of our inspiration. The OGAS, the USSR example, and the CyberSen. And historically, the OGAS was the first one. Nastia, do you want to pick it up?
Yep, I can continue. So yeah, I can say that I've always been fascinated by cybernetic, actually. And for a long time, I was interested in Viktor Glushkov's Soviet cybernetic project, which is OGAS, which is the idea of building a national autonomous computational like brain that would manage the economy for the like common good. So essentially it's an early idea of the internet to manage the entire plant economy in real time. And the plan was to connect thousands of factories and ministries into one cybernetic system that actually would automatically optimize production, distribution, and logistics across USSR. And it was meant to replace bureaucratic manual planning with this algorithmic control. But actually it never fully materialized, partly because of political resistance from the Soviet ministers, and partly because of the state couldn't agree to give up human power to a machine. So yeah, this like it, but August remains one of the most ambitious early visions of computational governance. Yeah, Nazar can.
And yeah, I guess Cybersyn followed in the same pathways. Chilean government invited famed cybernetician Stafford Beer to develop a very similar system of controlling supply and demand. In essence, that every node connected to the system would have things that they would need to continue production, or that the things that they would output, and the system would kind of balance each other out by providing necessary supply and demand respectively to each other. And as Nastia mentioned, the USSR's program worked until I think late 90s or something like that, and diminished as the government was not able to reconcile the fact that the control is being taken from them by the cybernetic entity. And the Chilean system is something similar, in a sense that the Chilean project ended by the fact that the factories that were in or different private organizations that were put in the system were nationalized, and it disappointed quite a few people. And after the change in the government in a few years, after 1973, the system also became discarded. And that was kind of the biggest progress that we found of politics and technology being connected directly without intermediaries. And that's how we kind of started thinking of the question of what if the we had a lot of analogies in literature, in the history of thought, of machines being political, or politics being machinistics, or governments being machinistics and algorithmic, and that bureaucracy can be replaced by an algorithm. And the roots of our project is asking question: and what if the government is the machine? What if we offload this part of human life to synthetic organisms? And that's kind of the point where we started reading a lot, things that mostly were recommended by Tiziana Terranova and others, and what we found ourselves. This kind of, I guess, three main books that we used throughout the research, but there was many more papers that we wouldn't fill the would fill the whole screen. But this was kind of formative. So I'll talk about the stack. I think the important part of this was to see the progression from the idea of governments being machinistic to the world itself becoming a machine and a computational stack. And which gave kind of the ground for the what we have now is the projects of network states and the ability and the questions like whether corporates and big companies can become sovereign themselves by the means of being the core infrastructure of network society that we have today. And of course, after the internet and on the mode of existence of technical objects, Nastia, maybe you can expand.
Yeah, yeah, it was actually an interesting twist, because when we applied for this residency, I was reading a book which is called After the Internet by the Tiziana Terranova. Yeah, and then we suddenly found out that she would be our like project mentor, conceptual mentor, I don't know. And yeah, we were honestly very excited, and I might say that working with her was a pleasure. Like, she immediately understood what we were trying to do and started actively shaping the direction with us. And yeah, she gave us many references and I can say methodological hints that we try to follow in this project. Yeah, so I really appreciate that, and she really a brilliant theorist. So yeah, more about the book. So Tiziana Terranova, in her After the Internet, looks at how the internet actually changed from an experimental and open space into a powerful global infrastructure. which is kind of dominated by the platforms, algorithm, and extraction. And she argues that the network is no longer just a communication tool, but it became an economic and political machine that shapes subjectivity, power, imagination, labor, and etc. Yeah, and maybe I want to mention also the Simondon, this book which is called On the Mode of Existence and Technical Objects. Yeah, so basically we were inspired by this work because of Simondon articulates that machines are seen not as passive tools, but as evolving individuals with their own, let's say, mode of becoming. Yeah, so I think these theoretical constellations like Tiziana Terranova, Benjamin Britten, and Gilbert Simondon gave us the frame to treat our computers as not as hardware of installations, but as synthetic agents in political ecology. Yeah, so maybe we
Indeed.
can continue.
Yeah, and what Nastia, so the whole story, right? So from the idea of order becoming a virtue through developing technology of control and governance, through this infrastructure becoming the whole world. Up until now, what we saw is that even though there is a lot of technology serves as an intermediary, and still some human on the other side has to decide the algorithm and the politics that go into the algorithm. The question, once again, that we asked: what if the machine becomes the decider? What if we encode and conserve the politics that we have nowadays into those perpetual beings? What will become of that, and what will happen if those politics can go into perpetuity, where those states, the machine states, can basically interact with each other through complex simulations and live without us? And this is the preliminary sketches that we have right now. It's nice to design this beautiful looking system of different connected states. We'll talk about a bit how it functions on the later slide. But this was the core question. Do you have anything to add, Nastia, on this slide, or we can go?
I can say that basically the idea is simple, but I think the reality forces us to knowledge it. So I can add that we were thinking about the cyberspace and how easy it's today to manipulate it, and how interfaces and feeds constantly algorithmically recruit us into political dynamics without actually our awareness. So in everyday life, we also became part of state power. These games simply by like scrolling, liking, and reposting. So our idea is to make this visible on the one hand, and on the other hand, and visible. So like the moment you enter the installation, you automatically became an agent in a political ecology. So if you, even if you don't choose it, so yeah, we can, I think, move to the technically.
Yeah, so maybe
solution.
I'll start. So basically how it works is that those individual Raspberry Pis that you see here have numerous amounts of variables that are provided to them, basically emulating real world resources. They have their own ideologies that are defined on 8 different axes, and they drive decisions. So they essentially make political decisions on how to allocate resources. And oh, I'm sorry, no light. I hope you can see me. Yes. How to allocate those resources, what are the diplomatic relationships with those other Raspberry Pi, the other states, what are the economic resources, how to cooperate, etc. And those, each individual stage, are in the network connected by the main hub, which collects the information from those individual states for documentation purposes, essentially. And as Nastia mentioned, when a person enters the exhibition, if they have an Internet of Things device that emits Bluetooth signal, this signal is getting picked up by each individual machine, and this device enters an auction, which is on which it is decided which machine is going to capture the device itself through essentially an auction system where this whole complicated mash of variables and decisions are being included and calculates which state receives the human. In this case, they become mere interface and connection to an infrastructure, a thing that is being essentially used for politics rather than the thing that decides politics. Yeah, Nastia, anything to add here?
Maybe I can add about the background, how we actually choose the Bluetooth signal. So yeah, it was a lot of work actually. So firstly, we had to understand whether the interactive concept would even function, and we explored different options like radio towers, signals, and so on and so on. And at some point, we even considered physically shielding the exhibition space with the metal to isolate signals and to materialize this concept of with radio towers, but yeah, we talk with many people who know like physics and telecommunications just to test our assumptions, and eventually we found a cleaner solution when we decided to rely on Bluetooth signal detection, yeah, and translate the presence of visitors into data that our machines can use as political capital. Yeah, so, and we also were very lucky to meet Ivan Stepkiv, who joined our team and help and still helping us to build actual infrastructure. Yeah, of this networking logics and communications between the Raspberry Pis and the integrations of the Bluetooth stream into the simulation layer. Yeah, it was really, I really appreciate it. So yeah.
Yeah, so I will summarize by saying that once again, the core of the idea of the project, what if the machines become the states themselves? And what we, I guess, found in the process while designing the machine states, while encoding politics into them, while defining what ideology each machine has, what resources they had to wield, what policy decisions they get to make, is that it seems to be the most conservative move you can make to kind of react to the world, to preserve politics in their form right now without the ability to move forward with something possibly new. And it's quite a, I guess, a dystopian idea that we had with Nastia, but the one that we felt is very close to being realized in some sort of instance. And basically the way it works is that we have a collection of states which run on Raspberry Pis and Python code, which has defined a lot of inputs, things like water resources, like energy consumption, to the ability to wield power, like informational power, and affect its neighbors, different states, in order to cooperate or wage war, and of course interact with the visitors of the exhibition through kind of, how would you say, pulling them into their own politics without necessarily them knowing them that right away, and doing politics through them and with them, and sometimes not for them. And yeah, I guess that's it.
We have a question from audience. It's about the variables and what is the content on that side. What are the models that hold them together? Are they different for every state? Maybe Nazar, you can answer it.
So we
Because you-
decided on the variables based on the research paper that Nastia found, which wasn't, well, we can share it maybe in the chat. It was the power in the cyberspace, I think. I don't remember the author, but basically they outline the skeleton of what the cyber state is. And in essence, it composes of three main components. It composes of body politics, which is the population of the state and the governance systems that it has. It has the ideology components, which defines the belief system, the kind of primes the decision-making process, defines the goal of the system, and it's subdivided into like social ideology, political ideology, economic ideology. And the last component is the infrastructure, so the hardware on which it runs and the software on which it runs. And this is kind of the short part of the which are in the simulation. So basically all of those components, they are used to get more power, and power in our sense is defined as a dime model. So diplomatic power, informational power, military power, and economic power, and all those variables go into that in order to increase or decrease essentially the effects. And then this whole shebang goes into a kind of mother formula that calculates the power index, which is then the thing that is being compared to with other states. Once again, yeah, sorry for that. I hope I answered at least the first question. What is the content on the site, and what are the models that hold them together? Are they different for every state? I think you're referring to this slide, right? If I understand correctly. Nastia, do you want to add anything to that answer to the question?
I think that what are the models that hold them together? It's basically like a complex installation which consists of the main display and different computers, our states machines on the borders. Yeah, so basically I think that it's this question about the physical model, yes. So are they different from every state? In the simulation, yes. As Nazar already said, that it represents the range of the political ideology and political ideologies. So yeah, the model that holds them together, it's basically our states.
I see that Lucia also shared another question, which is, can we draw an analogy between your concept of the state and a real state that shares similar ideologies and resources? Oh, I will start, Nastia. You should add something. I think that the idea of the project is to say that the state that we have here is the future of what a real state very well might be like. In the sense that it can conserve certain ideologies within the existing pool of resources, and kind of take it on itself to decide who gets what and under what conditions. So I think it's not even an analogy; it's just a extrapolation of certain tendencies that we see in happening today. Yeah, things like the network state, also the book that shared with us by Tiziana Terranova, and extending on that. Nastia, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay.
So the answer to the question, to the first question. So the question was about the statistical or econometric model, or however the variables are interconnected to simulate the power, not about the technical build.
Yeah,
So Nazar, it's for you.
I think soon we'll have a public GitHub where you will be able to investigate the code and see. We actually consciously decided not to present the interface itself because it would, I think, complicate too much the story. I think the logic there is that different resources affect power in different ways. And I think as we have this GitHub public, I think me and Nastia for sure will share it on our social media. And I think we can have a deeper look. But they are somehow defined by us, based basically on that research paper. The scrappy way we could encode this paper into the logic of the state. I hope that answers it. How does the audience presence affect the model? So as we mentioned, Bluetooth device gets recognized. Its ID is getting sent to a central hub, which puts it up for auction. The power calculation happens. So different states share their power index to the central hub where the calculation happens. And after the calculation happens, the ID is getting assigned to a certain state, and it affects several variables like stability, for example, of the state, which is defined once again in the simulation, and affects, for example, how responsive it is to the events that happen externally, which we kind of also encoded just to have some randomness and kind of realism to the progression of the state. So it affects certain variables like stability at its most important.
Yeah, if with this moment where people can also raise their hands and ask questions if you want to ask questions by voice instead of typing. So don't be afraid and raise your hand if you want to ask anything. Meanwhile, I wanted to ask if you record the whatever is going on with the states. Can you watch the dynamic afterwards? Is it stored somewhere?
Yeah, so the idea is that we kind of predefine ideologies, we predefine resources, we get the system to play with each other, we get the states to play with each other and to see how it goes. And we have a central hub, which the one that defines the auction, but also it is the one that documents all the data. So we also treat it as every step, every check-in, the data gets updated and sent to the central hub, which is then preserved. And we yet to test the whole system playing together, but we hope it might bring some interesting results. I'm not sure what we'll do with the data, We'll see, but I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
And I think you spoke about the wars. Is there is a such condition possible within the system?
Yes, so this is one of the things we're actively working on. So for now, we have essentially an individual state that runs on Raspberry Pi, but is yet to be connected to other. So, and one of the ways this is going to be connected to the, one of the ways is the auction, and the other ways is kind of the relation that they can build with each other. So one of the ways is, for example, diplomatic relations that can happen, for example, resource sharing or contract building, which is also affected by the power. But also we want to develop a condition of a war that sometimes the hostile takeover can happen. The states can go down and kind of get reburned. I think one of the challenges was also to think of a system that can run for a long time. We know that the exhibition is going to be quite a long one. I think it's going to be 3 months in Rudolfinium. So we also thought about kind of how we can keep it going, and I think this and have it dynamic. I think the way you do it is to have those kind of events like wars diplomacy, certain world events that can happen. Yes, I see Petro. Привіт, Petro. So what sort of auction happens when a new device is introduced into the ecosystem? How does a given machine state win said auction? So each machine state, they have 4 different components of power. They have diplomatic power, informational power, military power, and economic power, which is in its own state influenced by the resources and how they're being distributed. Those 4 domains of power, in essence, are getting computed. They have a Nazar formula, which is essentially takes weighted all of those variables we have present, and we have imagined like 10 states. The power formula is getting calculated when the device shown. The central hub grabs the power formula output and essentially scores them from 1 to 10 and decides the first one is going to get the thing. I hope I answered it, Petro. Maybe you can clarify. NH stars. Not all characteristics. So that's also something we thought with Nastia. Kind of up until the end of the project, we discussed how interactive it will be. We settled on the idea that the politics is being done to humans, so kind of you cannot affect it in many ways except by being in your presence. But some resources, for example, like some resources are essentially, for now, we decided they're going to be randomly assigned. Just for the fun of it, we saw that it works better rather than trying to configure ideally what works best, because we have the system of that it can like refresh essentially if it goes to 0. But things like ideology are gonna be defined. So we also didn't go that much in depth into it, but we have essentially we found a 8-dimensional political compass, which is basic, and you could get to define in quite detail what kind of the ideology the state has, which influences in its own state the way the resources are distributed. So some yes, some not.
We have a question. Is there a way for you to intrude into the system and correct ongoing events? I think we just set up these events and these settings on the onboarding, and then we just I think turn off the God mode and just no, let it be.
If I may add, I think
so.
one of the ways, because I think it's if you know about how it functions, you can hack it. I think, for example, one of the ways you can do that is overwhelm the, like you can bring 100 phones, I don't know, and overwhelm the system and kind of intrude on how it works. I think that's you can be creative with it. We didn't like plant it into the project itself, but there is definitely ways to disrupt it in a cool way.
Do we have a cool name generator for states?
Not, I don't
I
think,
think
not,
it's
not for
we
now.
don't need actually a generator because we have up to like 10 states, so we will name it itself.
Yeah, maybe us and Ivan will create another thing,
Yeah.
the state name generator. I also see another one for the initial distribution of resources among the states that use any actual countries as the prototypes. Nope. So once again, it's random. So the resources itself are, for now at least, they're just essentially getting random, because we also wanted to test the system, like to test the state itself. What would happen if the state doesn't have any water, or what would happen if the state has plenty of I don't know, a certain specific like population. So for now it's random, and it seems to be giving interesting output. So I think we'll stick with that for now, at least. Maybe we'll change something in the for the final exhibition. How would your project look like if you had infinite resources? Nastia, do you want to start? How would your project look like if you had infinite resources?
We built a country.
Yeah, I guess
I think.
during the last discussion with Tiziana we had, like last Friday, we talked about the fact that this project is sort of, if we, like me, Nastia, and Ivan, can do this project on our own, we are scared to think of what companies like Palantir or different like software companies that can provide services to governments can do. So I guess if we would have infinite resources, we would not do this because they would be too scary if we want to extend it. So I think the goal of it was to make a contained system. If we had infinite resources and bad intentions, yeah, we would make
You will hate us.
yeah, we'll make a dystopian future. Maybe this was missed and I said, but did you base the methodology? I can't remember. No, the mother equation is actually just something that we came up with, basically, once again, taking those main power indexes and just weighing them together. So it was like by luck and chance, seeing what weights work better in order to keep the system going. So if you have any references for the mother equation or any thoughts of it, please write it to me directly or to Nastia or to, yeah, we're interested. But for now, it's like out of our head, just what seemed to keep the system going. Lucy shared what could play a role of central computer in real life. I mean, Nastia, do you want to start? Do you have any ideas?
Actually, I don't really get the question. What could play a role of central computer in real life?
Okay, in your installation, you have the central computer as a central hub, yes, and this hub decide how the resources used between the different like states, yes. And I understand what you create some kind of game, some interactive game, yes. But also I believe what everything what we train digitally we can use in the real life. And probably if you search or made a big research about the digital governments and how it works in the real life, how you can, I don't know, determine this main computer, what in real life, what it could be. For example, as for me, it's something as, for example, media, because they social media or some, I don't know, some media would show the people some information, because we get some information after that, decide what we want to be participate in one or other state, for example, yes. And if I right understand what your the most powerful state in that moment when the people come to the this close to this installation, this computer put these people as a resource to the most powerful state, yes? And what is could be this role, who in real life do this role?
I mean,
If you
I
have
guess
any idea.
the
It
thing
just
we talked about with the Nastia was it kind of like a central bank of sorts. It was also a long discussion because we wanted to make the system as state to state as possible, but we also wanted to have this role of a kind of a bookkeeper of thing that collects data that can and it's also for feasibility of the project. We didn't want to have, we wanted to be able to run this thing on like Raspberry Pis, which are cheap compared to other types of computers. So I guess the real life analogy would be something like a central bank that would give countries more value based on certain conditions. If they accomplish them, they get it, and the others are not. I don't know, Nastia, if you have anything to add to that.
No.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Did we answer, Lucy? Does it make sense?
yes, I
Yeah,
think it's nice to think about that. Yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
Is there a condition where a node dies, runs out of resources, for example? Yes, there is a condition. It's like, for example, what happens quite a lot, for example, for some, probably because it's coded not very well, but still, what happens quite often is that states use all of the water they have. And because they use all of the water, other resources are getting drained, and also simultaneously, like, stability diminishes, or the people leave essentially the state. So they quite certainly can die, but then for the sake of this thing to keep going further, they not regenerate, but they reinstate themselves.
And the system is own, there will be a way to see what's going on there online? I assume that after 2 months of residency, we will see some wild developments in the virtual world.
That's a cool thought.
Yeah.
I don't think we discussed it directly with Nastia, but this one of the, I guess, we can make it like a alternative history of the world, and present like the findings of 3 months of the system running in a website. I'm not sure about real time. Maybe not. We'll have to ask, also talk with Ivan what
Yeah.
he thinks of this added weight. But for sure, something will be done with the data. I think will be cool to see the output. I think we also, when we like thought of the project and pitched the project to Izolyatsia and the DATAS whatever commission, we also thought of it as a laboratory where we can kind of simulate these events and see what machines decide. So I think a proper output would also be like for sharing the results after the exhibition. Yeah. Do you see
Do
how
you
the
see
system
how
can?
the system can be improved by use of AI? Actually, we thinking on add the AI bot. Maybe.
It is problematic because if I may, Nastia, or sorry, sorry for
Yeah,
interrupting.
to translate like worldwide news of all of the states. But why you, Nazar, find it problematic?
Well, because AI
don't.
systems now have their own politics, right? Was this
Oh.
like if you ask ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude like a series of political questions, it will answer, and then they will end up on a certain place in the political map of sorts. So I think there is, at least I have a lot of questions of how the models themselves were being developed, right, and how they're being run. I think it would be a cool thing if we could do it, but I have the like ethics part, or like the how would it conceptually integrate into the project? Because what we discussed with Nastia is that, for example, we can have this AI agent that can kind of be a god of the system that would like create world events, like a world drought, and then every state has a decrease in water or something. But for now, we kind of decided not to go that way. I guess we just encoded several events themselves, so they can random, like 30 events, I think, they can randomly pop up, but not AI agent. Maybe, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll talk with Nastia and we'll decide that yes, we'll create our own AI model and run it.
Yeah.
But for now, can you make your own data sets, Sophia? Could you clarify what you mean by that? So like a
I think
synthetic.
it's about the AI, maybe.
Oh, if it's about AI,
can,
yes,
you can speak now. Yes.
Yes, the question was about the AI. So of course, there's a lot of other political problematics with AI about the use of energy and other, ecological questions. But there are examples of, making your own data sets and controlling what goes in them to not, as you said, have a random, ChatGPT with its own politics and its own.
True. Thank you. Fair point. Yes, with caveats, and the caveats would be that datasets is one thing, but also being able to teach a system is another thing, in which would require like a lot of basically money and compute time that we don't have at our disposal. Maybe that's part of what we would do with infinite resources. Maybe we would develop our own model that could be much smarter than we have right now. And then yes, making our own data sets, maybe using the data sets from this exhibition to make our own AI model, that can be a thing. Couldn't do it, I think. Maybe Nastia, you have something to add?
No, I think that it's too complicated for now for our like time frame and resources basically. So yeah, but it's a great point. Thank you.
It was quite a challenge to figure out what a state is, and to figure out what a cyber state is, and to figure out how to code it, and to figure out how it would like communicate. And then I think the next thing can be to make it, in a sense, intelligence, and to make it actually decide on itself. But for now, it's not. Not. We can. I don't see it how we can do it. Do you plan to have a visualization of processes within the system? Nastia, do you want to say?
Visualization of processes within the system.
Maybe I can also show this.
Do you mean like a graphic interface? Yeah, actually, I working on it right now. So to try to make this complex like variables and schemas easier, and to be confident that the visitors can understand what's going on the screens. So basically, yeah, we planning to have these visualizations or interface on of which state. Yeah.
Yeah, so each individual states will have their own graphs that show the progression and the development, and we'll have this main screen that would show the power indexes for all of the states. And we're still working on the graphics. We have the backend, as I mentioned, we didn't want to show it now. It's confusing, but yes, it will be the visualization. Maybe also the sound, but that's next level that we need to think about.
Is there any more questions? Please type or raise your hands.
And maybe we had something on YouTube. If the translation, maybe something is there. I'm not sure.
No, our
No?
YouTube viewers are shy.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We still love them.
Okay, I think if we haven't question, maybe it's everything is very clear, understandable, and I think what if we invite everybody who now is present here to the exhibition, we will have the ability to try this, like test it on the own presence and with own device, yes, and maybe have some and I don't know, more visually and interactively this experience, yes. And I think we invite everybody to follow the Izolyatsia in Instagram, and we will remind you about this next presentation. Maybe we first presentation we plan to do in Kiev. I think in the end of this year. Please follow us, and we invite everybody who can join us in Kiev, and also on next summer, in summer, yes, in June we will have the exhibition in Rudolfinium in Prague. More detail also we will put on the website and also the Instagram page of Izolyatsia. Please follow us, and thank you for being with us, having us here, and also, yes.
There is one more question. Maybe we can.
Yes, and I do want to address it because it's Michał, is it your question or is it someone from the chat?
No, it's someone from Q&A, anonymous question.
Okay, of course, that's a beautiful question. I think
Okay,
so. I read it. So sorry, Lucia, for this was a nice thing, but this is
no.
cool question.
Great.
Do I understand correctly that the human with the Bluetooth has without the Bluetooth, I assume, right? So the person with the human with the Bluetooth has no agency, or without the Bluetooth, regardless. Nastia, do you want to start or to add, to say something?
Yes. So basically the human with a Bluetooth device and without Bluetooth device. I don't think maybe. Okay. So with the Bluetooth device, actually have agency just by the presence in the space. And that's all. So we just restrict this agency by this by this notion of the like interconnection. Yes. So yeah, Nazar, you can continue.
Yeah, well, it's my opinion. I'm not sure I agree with Nastia in full, and that's because I feel like the point was to make the show that the systems can be self-contained without humans to an extent, at least. And I think once again, for me, when we were coding the project, it was like you're encoding a political system, and you're deciding the politics for the system and for the human that enters in relationship with the system. So the answer is, I guess, no for both for me. So no agency for humans in any ways, which is the scary part, which is kind of the that yeah, which is indeed the dystopian part, the thing that concerns politics and goes without them, without the because even the person without the Bluetooth device, they wouldn't be able to say no. They wouldn't be. I mean, if they somehow try to like disconnect the Bluetooth module from their Bluetooth device and it just doesn't register, yes, I guess they are not entering the auction. They're not being used as a resource. But if not, no one asks them. No one suggests. I don't know.
Yeah, basically we just refer to the our like condition of cyberspace, where it's a great question. in terms of I don't know, philosophical and social relations, like right now, because do we have any agency as humans right now? Yeah.
And what like Petro wrote, right? The person with the Bluetooth device wouldn't have any say in how the auction is being done for him. So in this case, no. Mikhail wrote illusion of agency, not even an illusion of agency, I guess. This was maybe also a bit like on the how it was decided, because we once again pitched this project as a laboratory, and we wanted to pitch this project as a research, but we needed to find like a statement, or we need to find a vision that we wanted to show that would be comprehensible. We didn't want to just make a complex formulate and calculate it. And I think the statement that we ended up with was quite bad for humans, right? And we just wanted, from our idea, led the fact that machines can do politics without us, which is scary. But that's, yeah, I guess we need to face it to an extent and figure out what we can do about it, or with the machines, or against them. Okay, that's it.
Do we have any questions?
So, Lucia, do you have do you want to say maybe anything else? I don't think so. I don't see anything. Well, from my side, we hope we'll be able to show it in Kiev before it goes to Prague. You'll be able to try to subvert it as many ways as you want, as you can. Please do. And also, if you will be able to visit in the Prague, please try to subvert it in many ways as you can, as you do. It was very nice answering all the questions, sharing about the project. Thank you once again, Izolyatsia, Lucy, Ivan, Tiziana, whoever watches us, wherever it is. Thanks.
And thank you so much. We will send the recording of this presentation to all those who registered. Yeah, follow us on social media, and hope to see you in our next upcoming events that we will announce shortly.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.